Hey guys, welcome back to the MCU HQ. This is a video I've been needing to make for several days now, but circumstances and a really bad headache. But we're here now. So this is a recap, breakdown of everything we saw at the Marvel Studios Hall H panel at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, if you've never watched one of these videos that I've made, I've done a few others like this. I did one for D23, I did one for the animation panel a couple days ago. Basically, I go through everything Marvel talked about, and I break it down. I talk about what they showed, what they announced, what they revealed, what was in footage that I haven't seen for the most part. I've seen like the 5-second clip of the Guardians trailer that broke my heart, but we'll talk about that soon. And sometimes I'll throw in a theory or something else in there. So it's pretty fun. I do it format more like a discussion instead of just, heavily edited and stuff. So I'll put images on screen, but I have like my notes on my computer. I'll just be glancing over talking to you guys here. So there was a lot. Hall H did not disappoint. There was a lot of stuff. And so the way Kevin Feige opened this was talking about Phase 4, what's left in Phase 4, and confirming it ends with Wakanda forever. So it ends this year, and a lot of people have been wondering what exactly has Phase 4 even been building towards. It's just a bunch of separate stories, but whatever. So it ends with Black Panther Wakanda Forever, which I actually saved talking about that for the end of the video because I'm going to talk about it in the order he showed it. So after showing that and taking What If off the timeline, he then goes into Phase 5, and he just announces all of Phase 5 and what we're getting. So Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania kicks off Phase 5, releasing on February 17th, 2023. Then we have Secret Invasion, which is the we'll talk about in a bit. They talked about a lot of the stuff they're going to do here. But Secret Invasion comes out spring 2023, followed very closely by Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, my most anticipated project on here, on Cinco de Mayo of 2023. That's May 5th, for all of you who don't know what Cinco de Mayo means. Echo, summer of 2023. The Marvels, July 28th, 2023. Loki Season 2 of Summer 2023, Blade on November 3rd, Ironheart Fall 2023, Agatha Coven of Chaos. So they changed the title from House of Harkness to Coven of Chaos. That's winter 2023 to 24, and a lot of people have been theorizing that Chaos Magic, Wanda Maximoff might be in the show. And so that'll go from 2023 into 2024. And then Captain America New World Order, the trademark was correct on May 3rd of 2024. That'll be the Anthony Mackie solo film. And then the big stuff happened. So Kevin Feige says in spring 2024, we're getting a show called Daredevil Born Again. The crowd went nuts. And it is going to be an 18-episode series. 18! That's almost the standard network television length, which was 22. And Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio, of course, returning. They have not said, but it's pretty obvious that Eldon Henson, Deborah Ann Woll, and probably even Elodie Young as Elektra will return in that show. And the one question I do have is the title Born Again, because Season 3 of Daredevil heavily drew from the Born Again storyline. That was more tame than the actual comic was. But so it begs the question, are they just borrowing the name, or are they redoing Born Again? I don't know, but either way, the name is symbolic of Daredevil's place in the MCU now. And I cannot wait for that show. And then the last thing we have on here, on July 26th of 2024, is the Thunderbolts, rounding out Phase 5. And Kevin Feige said they'll go through the team another day. But for anyone who doesn't know, the Thunderbolts are basically a team of anti-heroes or villains. It's the closest thing Marvel has to their own Suicide Squad. And yeah, that rounds out Phase 5. We'll talk about basics later when Kevin Feige actually mentioned it. But who might be on this Thunderbolts team? In my mind, I think Yelena, John Walker. If they bring Punisher in, he'd be there. That would be cool. But a lot of the Ghost, Abomination, a lot of the villains that are still alive will be on that team. Probably led by Zemo, with Val as like their Nick Fury figure. And then we get, they went back to talk about some of the Phase 4 stuff that we're getting. So they went into She-Hulk, Attorney at Law. They showed a new trailer which actually makes the show look good. The first trailer didn't, this new one does. It looks like a fun show. It will be filled with cameos. They said you never know who's going to show up. All sorts of fun and wacky characters in there. Just in the trailers, there's a lot of wacky characters. And Daredevil is in the show wearing his classic yellow suit from the comics. Then they talked a bit about Secret Invasion. They skipped over Wakanda Forever to end the panel with that in the most beautiful way they could. So then they went to Phase 5 stuff. Secret Invasion. Kobe Smulders and Don Cheadle are in the show. And they said this is a dark political thriller akin to Captain America the Winter Soldier, which automatically boosts my excitement for Secret Invasion. That's everything I want it to be. And Kobe Smulders said it's going to be a guessing game as to what characters are human and what characters are Skrulls. Thank God. I want to spend the entirety of this show not knowing who's a Skrull and who's a human. If I had to guess right now, the President, obviously a Skrull. War Machine, probably a Skrull. They did show some footage. They showed a trailer. I tried to do the best I could to see what they showed. And what I compiled is they talk about Maria Hill, comments on why Fury's been gone for so long. And since Fury's in space for the Marvels, there's a very good chance this isn't the real Fury. Talos tells Nick to be careful and apparently had some sort of mob behind him. That's what I gathered. Olivia Colman, Oscar winner, Emmy winner, Olivia Colman, appears to be some authority figure over Fury, and Martin Freeman, Everett K. Ross from Black Panther and Captain America Civil War, is in the show. He was in the trailer. So I'm sure that however his character ends in Wakanda Forever will lead into his character in Secret Invasion. But then they talked about something that I initially was not too excited for, but after hearing about, and not gonna lie, I did watch the leaked trailer, I am now so much more excited about Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Peyton Reed returning to direct, all the familiar faces coming in, and they said they're fleshing out the quantum realm in this one. They're journeying through the quantum realm. Footage apparently just showed them being sucked right into the quantum realm, and they're just in there now. So Catherine Newton, they recast Cassie Lang. She was played by Emma Furman in Avengers Endgame. She's played by Catherine Newton here, who's suiting up with Scott and Hope. If you guys saw the poster they put out, Cassie's on that poster. And it said catching up with Scott. He wrote a book. He's pretty full of himself about saving the universe, so he wrote a book on that. They confirmed that Bill Murray is in the show, but his role is unknown. Modok is in the movie. First look at him, and it was very unclear in the trailer. I was confused at what I was looking at, but what I saw online is that it looks like Modok is not going to be the Modok we all know and love. He's just going to be a giant robot. I'm only kind of disappointed in that. And Kang the Conqueror showed up. And I want to address this now because in the footage, he's just Jonathan Majors. He's not blue. Kang is not blue. His mask is blue. So he's just not wearing the mask at the time. And he says, are you an Avenger? Have I killed you before? Ant-Man says, I am an Avenger. And Kang says, and I am a conqueror. And there was not a single joke in the trailer. This was a very serious trailer. People compare it to the Avengers Infinity War trailer. Yeah, I'm hyped. I'm super hyped for that now. I am going to do a ranking of the upcoming Phase 5 and 6 projects and rank them in terms of excitement, so subscribe if you want to see that. And then they talked about something I'm very much looking forward to because I love the first two movies. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Oh boy, prepare to cry for this one. So James Gunn comes on stage, said when he pitched the first movie, he did have sort of an ending in sight for these characters. This is the ending of that story, so this is the final, at least the iteration of the Guardians under James Gunn, this is the end of it. I would imagine this is the final Guardians movie overall, because James Gunn is leaving. The whole cast basically said they're leaving with James Gunn, so just don't do any more Guardians, Marvel, please let the story end. So Star-Lord has lost the love of his life, and she does not know who he is. There's like a total, it's very hard to find the other 5 seconds, but there's a total of 10 seconds of footage that leaked, some of which does show Gamora. Then Gamora's sister, Nebula, is a Guardian now. Nebula's more fun this time around as she no longer has the burden of Thanos. That's what Karen Gillan said. And it looks like Mantis actually gets to kick some butt this time. That's what Pom Clementieff had said. And that makes me happy, seeing Mantis' full potential there. And then some new characters. Adam Warlock is in this. He apparently looks great from the footage that was showed. I did see like the little thumbnail of him. He looks pretty cool. He looks comics accurate. Gold hair, gold skin. It's beautiful. And James Gunn has been praising Will Poulter a lot for this role. He even on stage said he's very glad he didn't introduce Adam Warlock earlier because Will Poulter's the perfect guy, and he joked that Will was like 11 at the time. And Will Poulter has actually said since this, it's not in my notes because this wasn't Comic-Con, but he talked about how Adam Warlock's in a weird state in this movie because he's essentially a newborn. He's basically a baby. So, yeah. And I'm sure we'll see Aisha again and all them and how they tie into the villain of this movie, who is the High Evolutionary, played by Chukwudi Iwuji. I think that's how you pronounce it. If you've seen Peacemaker, he was in that show, and he was phenomenal in that show. And he actually came out on stage in the High Evolutionary outfit. And he gave a monologue. It was great. I loved listening to it. And he said that he loves experimenting on lower life forms in an attempt to make them better. And it was clear right then and there. This movie was diving into the backstory of Rocket Raccoon. And if you've seen the leaked footage, all I'm going to say is bring tissues to this movie. Bring a lot of tissues. And when we take the High Evolutionary experimenting on these lower life forms, we also have Cosmo the Space Dog in this movie, who is going to be along for the ride, and I'm sure we'll have a great dynamic with Rocket and Groot, and I wouldn't be surprised if Cosmo is another experiment of the High Evolutionary, and Maria Bakalova, who was in Borat's subsequent movie film, as she played Borat's daughter, right? I'm pretty sure. She is playing Cosmo the Space Dog. Apparently she had the motion capture and the voice. But that was all the Phase 5 stuff they talked about. That's all they're able to talk about right now. Probably because most of it hasn't even started shooting yet. They don't even know what they're doing. But Secret Invasion, Ant-Man, and Guardians have all wrapped filming. So they could talk about that, bring some of the cast. It was great. And I've got to say, for Guardians, the whole cast was emotional on stage. It's going to be rough. But then Kevin Feige, he talked about Phase 6. And I'm convinced he only talked about Phase 6 because of the trademark leaks. Whether they were intentional or not, I said in my video on them, they were probably intentional. But either way, now you got to actually talk about it because everyone knows what's happening. So Fantastic Four releases on November 8th, 2024. And then the next two Avengers movies, Avengers 5 is called The Kang Dynasty. It releases on May 2nd of 2025. And Avengers Secret Wars releases November 7th, 2025. That's two Avengers movies in the same year. Two Avengers movies 6 months apart. So they're just doing Infinity War Endgame in the same year, basically. And I have a hunch Kang Dynasty will end. If I was doing this, Kang Dynasty ends with them getting transported, with all the heroes getting transported to Battleworld, where Secret Wars takes place. Marvel's going to need a lot of money to make this movie because holy crap, that's going to be an expensive film. There's a lot of theories on this because Kang is clearly the main villain of this phase, but Doctor Doom is such a crucial character to Secret Wars that people wonder if we're actually building up to two villains and Kang's going to die and Doom is going to take over. I don't know what the plan is there. I think they're just going to do it all with Kang the Conqueror. And at some point, I couldn't actually find this bit in the actual video I was watching, but at some point, Kevin Feige said, "Welcome to the multiverse saga. Phases 4, 5, and 6 are the multiverse saga." And so after he talked about all this, he says, we've talked about the present, we've talked about the future, now let's talk about forever. And they talk about Wakanda Forever. So Baba Mal, who is the vocalist on the first Black Panther movie, he gives a live performance on stage. It's awesome to listen to, by the way. If you did not, just go watch that bit. It's cool. He comes up with a bunch of drummers, a bunch of backup singers, dancers. They do that. Ryan Coogler comes and takes the stage with a bunch of the cast and crew, and they show a trailer. Now, everyone has seen the Wakanda Forever trailer by now, hopefully. If you have not, also bring tissues to this one. This is going to be an emotional movie. It's a tribute to Chadwick Boseman by the people who knew him and loved him. And as I watched the Black Panther panel, it became clear why they couldn't recast the role. It was obvious they could never recast T'Challa. They could never replace Chadwick Boseman. And anyone who is still pissed that they didn't recast him, just watch the Wakanda Forever bit at the Marvel panel, and you will see why it was impossible to ever get someone who could take the role of T'Challa. And the trailer did show a few things. We saw our first look at Namor, and it's not actually Atlantis. Thank God I'm recording this video after they showed that. So he's not actually come from Atlantis. He's king of a place called Talokan, which I think they did in an attempt to get rid of any Aquaman comparisons. But Tenoch Huerta as Namor looks amazing. The makeup looks great. The costume looks great. I cannot wait to see what he does with this role. And the trailer showed us several things. Of course, most of it's a tribute to Chadwick Boseman. They're mourning T'Challa, and you have the characters in the movie mourning the exact same person that the actors and the crew are actually mourning. And that at some point they're going to flood Wakanda. We see the throne room get taken over by water. And that there will be a new Black Panther in this movie. Who that is, everyone's theorizing. It's not friggin' Killmonger, but everyone is theorizing as to who that is. And I personally think it's either Shuri or Okoye. It's too thin to be Winston Duke and Michael B. Jordan. If you've ever actually looked at Michael B. Jordan, he's like, he's huge. It's not either of them. Letitia Wright seems too thin to be the person in the suit, so it might be Nakia. But I don't know. We will see when the movie comes out on November 11th of this year. But there you guys go. That's everything Marvel had to talk about at San Diego Comic-Con. I'm going to make a couple more videos on this. A ranking, definitely. Ideally, that's the next video out after this. So subscribe. Click on the bell icon to get notified for that. Also, leave a like on this video. Subscribe. Have a great day, guys.